You're tuned into the Finding Life podcast, GenZ Coaching Corner. Real conversations that challenge how we think, live, and love. I'm Life, alongside Coach Jon, and together we explore what really matters. Today's episode, labels, who they say you are versus who you really are. We're breaking down how the labels we're given can shape what we believe about ourselves and how to take that power back. Let's get into it. We are in the coaching corner for our next gen and Gen Z and Finding Life teens.
Yes.
Right. So all of our high schoolers, this is our space. And this is our little podcast where we're going to be able to kind of chop it up and talk real life and give you different assets going on to different modules as you go through to be able to put this into practice and action. So just kind of discussing some of these concepts and some of the tools that we've discussed through these modules. And this is our space to talk, chop it up, and really just put it into real life, man. So how you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling really good, brother.
What module is this that we working on in the theme?
Man, we on module 1. We talking finding myself in a world that's already labeled me.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And
What's
when
the
we
purpose?
look at that, we breaking down the emotional and cultural weight teens carry while trying to find themselves in school, social circles, and society. And we're wanting to invite them to break free of false labels and reclaim self-definition.
That's huge, man. And as you were saying that, like, immediately thought to myself, Hooper. Right? That was one of the first labels that I can remember that society put on me. And I'm not going to say the word that my father used to describe me first, but it was an F word that is no longer acceptable for the populations today. Yeah. And he said it to me because, true story, 6 or 7 years old, we lived in an apartment complex, and I was scared to jump into the deep end of the pool. He ain't never teach me how to swim. But I'm supposed to be scared. I'm supposed to be ready to jump into the deep end of the pool, and he called me that F word. And so 2 things right there, 2 labels that I got right there. Is that and Cooper. And I'll talk to you later about how it truly shaped my teens and my teenage years and how those labels impacted me through adulthood. But I want to jump into it and just ask you, what was the first label that you remember?
Old soul.
Old
Out
soul.
the gate.
Yeah.
Old soul was one of those. And then I was I think I was just super quiet, you know, not really into much, you know, and so that can be considered as lame, you know, when you're kind of to yourself. And so that was one of those things that those 2 things that were kind of those first labels growing up.
See, my mother taught me how to be a gentleman, right? So I used to love being a gentleman. Opening door, like all of the little stuff, being sweet, right? I used to love being sweet.
What we call it chivalry.
Chivalry, right?
Yes.
I used to chivalry is not dead. I was on that
Same.
early, right? Until other little in the community streets, the school, call that soft. I remember them telling me, bro, you soft, you sweet, and when they said I'm sweet, like that was you sweet, bro. I was like, yeah. I genuinely thought of that being what I was.
Right. That's
like,
sweet.
I'm
That's
nice.
So
I'm a
sweet
sweet
of you. That's
boy.
so kind of you to open the door.
Like,
and, you know, those gestures. You know, you get that off elderly. The older, you know, they respect that. They look at that as
church.
That's so sweet.
That's
so kind of you. Such a kind-hearted young man. Right.
You got manners. Home training. That became lame, sweet, right? Soft.
Yeah.
All of those things. And I can't act like I did not take that a part of my identity. What do I mean by that? I allowed that to impact. I stopped doing that shit. Like, I stopped doing it in certain places and spaces where, like, my parents weren't at, you know, or the elders weren't at.
Yeah.
I stopped doing it those places.
Man, that almost, and we just talked about this with our tweens, our younger ones, about how those instances shape who you become,
Believe, yeah,
right? Or who you
yeah,
believe yourself to be,
yeah, yeah.
based off. And as we're talking here, society,
Yep,
social circles,
yep.
other outside influences, and so interesting, man.
No, it's the same way that I said. Like, let me ask you this: if we were to talk about those labels that people gave you, some of them are good, right?
Absolutely.
Some of them are good, and some of them are more affirming
Mm-hmm.
things that you believed about yourself, giving you a confidence. But like I said, Care, you soft, you sweet. My dad labeling me, you know, basically a homosexual, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he basically said with the F word, right?
Mm-hmm.
That made me value trying to conquer women and girls. Like when I was in high school, it became all about trying to, who can move to the next level, like who
Yeah.
could get some. And it was because, like, I go back, it's because I'm trying to prove to my father that I'm not that word.
And you hit it right. Approval. That was one of those same things that I even struggled with in that teen years, when I heard those things in my school, social environment, school
Mm-hmm.
environments, or just other environments that influence these labels and things. And
Mm-hmm.
so
You
I,
over there doing? I forgot we on a team. Well, now I can talk a little trash over
oh
there.
no,
That
look,
Mike
well,
Dirty. Yeah,
Rich, and I tell you,
yeah, yeah,
that's how you
yeah,
scratch your nose.
yeah.
That's how I learned that
We
from
on
the
the
old.
team. Well, now we can roast a little bit on
Look,
here, y'all.
I
We can
learned
be a
that
little
from
bit
the
more
older boy.
ourselves.
They did.
Yeah.
Hey,
Don't just do that part. Don't
look,
get to snotting and doing all of
nah,
that sniffing and
ain't
stuff.
finna put your finger in
But
your
my bad.
nose,
Go ahead.
but
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
but
ahead.
I was saying, no, part of approval.
Yeah.
That was, I struggled with that for a long time,
Yeah.
because when I got into those environments, and I mentioned this even when we were talking in our younger
Yeah.
the younger group community, was that oh, I'm about to lose my train of thought. I hate when that
No,
happens.
don't lose it. We're talking about approvals, right? And
Right.
as a young kid, where do you seek your approval from, and how behavior or how that seeking approval really changes how you do things, right? Like how I said, my father
Mm-hmm.
called me, that trying to prove that I'm not that really made me look to conquer women,
Right.
girls, right?
Connecting that piece, the approval part, and going to what our theme is, finding
Yeah.
myself in the world that's already labeled me. That was one of those things, even as a teen, I struggled with, trying to be approved and affirmed by others. I started to live life in that way, where
Yeah.
it was like, well, shucks, I'm having to live up to these labels, because if not, then it becomes, like you said in the point you're saying, oh, it's lame, that's
Yeah.
soft, or
Or disappointment to those.
exactly. And so a part of that, man, I struggled with that a lot
Yeah.
through my teen years, and even as an adult now, learning to unheal from that.
Because you were saying you
Yeah.
became those things. You
Mm-hmm.
started
Not
to
unheal,
live for
unlearn from
those
that. Yeah.
things, right? You
Yeah.
started to,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm hearing you right, I started to measure myself
Yeah.
based upon the reactions of other people,
100%. Same.
right? I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to try to stop doing that based only upon what other people and how they reacted, responded, and labeled me on those things, right? So you struggle a lot of your life early, especially in your teenage years, trying to, parents will call it rebelling, right? Parents will call it rebelling, but it's really you recognize the dangers of living up to or down to the labels that other people gave to you. So in your mind, you are trying to not be that. By definition, you are rebelling, right? So that's what your parents are saying, right? You rebelling. Yeah. Your tool to say is, I'm rebelling the qualities in which I don't accept about myself. Even if that's what you want me to be, right? You told me that I am a scholar. I hate fucking school, Mom. Right? Sorry. I hate school, Mom. Right?
Hey.
I hate well, guess what? That you don't have to rebel against that. You can articulate, listen, I don't like this structured school. I may like to learn a different way.
Yeah.
I don't want to cancel out all the learning, but the more you tell me that I have to figure out and learn it this way,
the more
I'm going to try to push and explore other alternative ways.
I feel boxed in. So that's going to either lead me to rebelling, or if I just give in and lean into it,
Yeah, and it's why do we think it's so hard for teens specifically to speak up, cultivate, explore, communicate where they are, what they want? Why is it so difficult from our experience working with them, and how can we help them understand how not to be fatigued in trying to express yourself?
Um, you saying why is it so hard?
Yeah, yeah.
If I go back to my teen days, I think a part of it is its experiences, right? Experiences all play a role in it. So it could be from, that first time you've experienced and trying to do that and what that response was, or it could be oftentimes not knowing. You're questioning yourself in your mind.
Yeah.
Whether am I saying this right in a way that doesn't offend who I'm about to say this to, or I don't want to come off as disrespectful, or I'm just disobedient.
Yeah,
And
misunderstood.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I think oftentimes what kind of caused that shutdown is experiences, or even just really not knowing how to the point you say, articulate it in a way to whomever
Yeah.
you're wanting to relay that message to.
So I like to try to give us some time to summarize all of this and what we're talking about, right? And in a way, what we're saying is I want us to keep making sure we're feeding them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the pressure. I'm hearing you kind of talk about the pressure. The stakes are way higher today in today's world and with today's society than it was for me, and it was for sure was for me, and it even was for you, right? We're a decade apart. So it's for me. Listen, I could act up or I could do something, and the only people that knew about it were the people that knew it were there, or the people that my family told about it. Today, the whole world literally knows about it that fast. And real time, not only just real time, real situation, right? It's not even a version of the situation. They're watching you right now. Talk crazy, speak ignorant. They're watching you fight. They're watching your lowest, darkest moment happen in real time, over and over and over again. So the pressure to get it right the first time, right, is unfathomable for most parents and adults.
Yep.
And I think that is why we need to help them and continue to help them. What's the tool that they can take away from this module that can help them exercise really, understanding those labels, shedding some labels, and like I say, you stink. So the label of you can shower, and then the label, what can they do?
Y'all
tangibly?
realize, hey, y'all see, let me tell you, we do a lot of trash talking, but it's all
And
in
it smell
love.
like trash. So that's why you use those words, y'all. I'm just saying,
It's
right?
it's all in love.
It's
We
all
do this
in
all
love.
the
It's
time.
all in fun.
But what was pose that question again?
Yeah, so I want us to make sure that we talk about the tool, right? What's a tool that they could really use, and not just, I know we give them the tools in the toolbox, but what is a practical tool that you had to use as a teenager, right, to shed labels and to redefine your labels? What was your biggest tool and asset in that experience or process?
And I tell you, it's taking me a minute to answer that, because I really, and we talk about how to prepare the next generation to jump on doing these things early. I kind of didn't get to until my adult years to really go through the process on learning. But I think the biggest part is being able to first identify what that is, right? You got to start there before you're able to actually tackle what that particular, because we're talking about labels, unlearning them to rewrite your story.
Yeah.
So the big part of have to go to that root, right, and understand where that label was started, identify it first, and then from there go through that process. Even how we talk with the teens, not the teens, but the younger kids in the tween community. Be kind to yourself in that process,
Yeah.
and that's patience, just kindness. as you go through that process to unlearn those labels and then rewrite your own story.
It's very frustrating. So I'm going to add that to the tangible tool to identifying something is to observe something, right? The first step to identifying anything is to be in a position to observe a thing, right?
And how do we observe a thing?
So you observe, great question. You observe yourself by looking at the thoughts that you think, right? You can observe the thoughts that you think, literally take an inventory. What were the first few thoughts that I had in the morning? What were the thoughts that I had when I walked into school?
Man, how many teens probably have struggled or even now struggle? Because when I was a teen, I want to say I recall maybe having inventory of thoughts, but not really, because that wasn't
No,
necessarily.
you just knew that you were thinking. Nobody gave you permission to separate yourself from them.
Right, as I've heard you've said plenty of times before, filtering
Your thoughts. The way so we're talking about here's what we're talking about. The beginning stages of change is to first see the labels and the identity of a thing, which is you're looking at the label. If you want to find the identity of your favorite food, you look at the label, right? And you look at, you see, oh, this is Cheerios.
Okay.
Right? I see Cheerios. Now, what is in Cheerios? I turn it over and I look at the label, the ingredients, right? That's how we literally have to think of yourself. You are you. Right. And now you have to see what labels are you. People can say, man, you mean, man, you are too nice. What's your label? Right. What do you believe about you? Then you turn over and the ingredients are your thoughts. Right. How can you tell if it's you? What is a label? You may not like it. Or you may really like it. You have a thought about it.
And let me just help you. It's okay to not like a thing.
Yes.
And it's okay to like a thing.
Yeah.
And so even as you take
there's where your patience and there's where your kindness come in at.
Yep.
When you observe something within yourself that you don't like, you must be patient and you must be kind. If you are not, then it's almost like an itch. The more you scratch it, the more inflamed it gets, right? So you have to be patient and kind to yourself to allow it the space it needs to become something different.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's the first thing, labels. That's what we worked on this module, is labels. What are you labeled as? What are the labels that you need to identify? The tool that you're going to use to identify your labels this week is the tool of observance. You're going to observe things. And as you observe your thoughts, you're going to be able to be kind and patient with your actions and behavior. That's the work this week.
That's it.
We clear?
Yep, we clear on it.
We good? Any questions? What do they need to do?
Observe. And this is all, if we could tie it under one umbrella, self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
That's
what we're dealing with this week. This is
self-awareness. It's a part of taking inventory of your thoughts, filtering through those thoughts, right? The other two of kindness, patience, all of that is a part of self-awareness. And so that's the piece right there.
That's what we have to do. So listen, if you have some questions, direct them inside of the portal. They can get to us, the chat
in the top right hand corner of your community. You will see a chat where you have a plethora of coaches that you can choose to converse with, ask a question, if you just need to book you a one-on-one session with a coach where you want to dive a little deeper into some questions, or you just need help in solving something or whatever that is you need help with, you can always book that session and chop it up with one of our coaches.
Absolutely. And listen, take advantage of our weekly lives and our weekly webinars. Make sure you jump onto the weekly sessions. We're there. We are having conversations. You can ask questions, even if you can't necessarily talk back and forth because it's a more webinar central. This is something for you. Listen to this podcast. Listen to these episodes. This is for you. We're making this for you. I also want to say to this community, crisis support is real. Yeah. Right in there, we have 24/7 crisis support. If you are dealing with some thoughts that you can't shake yourself and they are a little too dark for you, allow us to help shine some light.
Absolutely.
That's a crisis. It's nothing wrong with being in crisis. Most of us are in crisis a lot and often, and we've learned to just create a comfort in being in crisis and chaos. So don't let that be you. We're not going to let that be you by yourself. We are here. This is Finding Life. If we already had it, we wouldn't have to find it.
There you go.
I'm proud of you. We'll catch y'all next week.
And we out.
Thanks for listening to Finding Life Podcast, GenZ Coaching Corner with Coach Life and Coach Jon. Stay connected, keep growing, and remember, this space is for you, and we just getting started.